Yo, what's up, guys? Alex here from Elite Football Conditioning, and this is how I want you to set up for your sprint acceleration training. So, this is the stance position I want you to be in, and the mistakes that people make when it comes to this particular drill. So, set yourself up on your start line with your target line, heel to heel, toe behind your heel, typically feet hip width apart, and then that foot, I'll show you from this side, should be more or less toes level with heel of that front foot. All right, that's pretty much your start stance where you're going to be. So that's a powerful position where you can accelerate from. Now, the key to that then is feet hip width apart. All right, that's going to give us a nice direct line to be able to drive forwards and straight through. If you're too wide, you're going to be a little bit out of balance. You're not going to get the same push from this leg. And if you're too narrow, you're more unstable. So hip width is going to give us a real good tram line, train tracks, whatever you want to visualize, a real good path for us to drive through and get the hips moving forwards. Next, hand position on the start line. So if you're able to, you want to keep yourself fairly close and coiled up. So normally you like to walk myself forwards and then bring myself back to here, where I can then have my hand up above my hip and more or less back level, if not angled, shoulders slightly towards the floor. All right, because I want everything to push me forward. So we want to stay long and low through the acceleration phase, which is the starting point for any sprint. Okay, then this foot, the front foot, and this is a key mistake a lot of people make. If that foot is flat, that brings the hips even higher, but it also means that I can't push through the ball of the foot here. And if I do, I ultimately have to come more upright a lot faster. So what I want to do, imagine you're in start blocks where you can keep your heel elevated. So think of it as like your heels elevated lunges, your heel elevated squat, where you're going to drive forwards and push through the ball of the foot. You're literally, with this foot, aiming to push the ground back and start that belt spinning. So imagine a hamster wheel. You want to get that belt spinning as fast as you can, get that wheel turning as quickly as possible so you can drive the floor back and away. So in your coiled up position, you've got this arm poised, ready to punch through. That's going to be your first step. So at that same point, step, push through and drive. So there, because I wanted to stop myself, I landed on the heel of my right foot. If I was going to keep going, that step, that drive through, it wants to be as long as possible, as far forwards as possible. So I'm almost jumping out the blocks with both feet. So you're ultimately driving off both feet forwards as far as possible, staying as low as possible for as long as possible. And that translates nicely to when we do sort of our acceleration drills. I'll see if I can get this in here. So I'm just going to use this plate stack. So this angle here, where we've got a real low shoulder height. So imagine I've just driven out the blocks. You can drive into a wall, and then you want that knee to punch through. You're not coming above 90 degrees at the hip because that's going to be too far. I'm going to overstride. That's then going to put the brakes on and bring me up, slow me down. I want to keep the foot really low to the floor, 90 degrees at the knee. If I'm less than that and the heel's up, I'm going to strike too close to myself and push up. Or I'm just higher off the floor. Further to come down, longer to come down, and it's then going to bring me more upright. So I want to stay low, punch that knee through, and keep that cadence, keep that low lean. So I'm gradually driving up and away. That's how I want you to start your sprints every single time. Be aggressive, push out through both feet as far as possible, as hard as possible. Keep those joint angles, be consistent with them. Make sure that you review them frequently. See if you're hitting those positions. Obviously, it always helps if you're on a good quality, stable surface, if you're on something like this in the gym, or if you're on a turfed field as opposed to a boggy, waterlogged grass pitch, which we seem to be getting an awful lot of at the minute. If you can get a good quality surface to run on, that's going to help an awful lot. So work on that, practice that, drill that. Even if it's a case of, rather than going into your workout and just straight away doing your sprints, if you break down those first few sprints and go, look, before I do those, I'm going to do 5 or 6 where I just work on my start. I'm just going to work on 3 steps driving out from the blocks just to get those acceleration angles right. And that principle, it doesn't change either when we come to, like, let's say, for instance, American football. Hold on, nearly dropped the camera down there. American football, you might have a receiver stance where you're leaning forward. Again, the weight is going to be in the front foot, I imagine so, or if you're a bit more relaxed, you'll be here. But ultimately, when you come to set off, the shoulders are going to be forwards. You're going to be pushing off through the ball of the foot with your heel off the floor. The same principles apply. Take off, be long, stay low, and drive through it. That's the key to a good start, so practice those.